There's a moment in some marriages when trust quietly dies. Not because of betrayal, not because of cheating, but because someone decides love should be tested. Last Thursday evening, I accidentally overheard my wife planning a fake breakup with her friends. They wanted to see how desperate I'd become. They expected tears, begging, panic. What they got instead was something that made my wife nearly run out of the house in humiliation. Before I tell you what happened, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling me. If your spouse tested your love like this, what would you do? Would you fight? Would you beg? Or would you walk away? Because when my wife Lauren ran her little test, I stopped playing the game entirely. And everything changed. Lauren and I have been married for 8 years. Not perfect years, but solid ones. We had routines, quiet rhythms that most couples fall into after enough time passes. She always turned the lamps on before sunset. Said she hated coming home to a dark house. I always left my keys in the same bowl by the door. Dinner at 6, TV at 8, bed by 11. Predictable, comfortable, maybe even boring to some people. But boring isn't always bad in marriage. Sometimes boring means safe. At least that's what I thought. Last Thursday evening, I came home early. That alone was unusual. My job usually kept me out until 7. But traffic had been light and a meeting ended early. So I pulled into the driveway around 5:30. The house glowed warmly through the windows. Golden light spilling onto the lawn. Roast chicken smell drifting through the air vents. Normal. Completely normal. I stepped inside quietly, setting my keys in the bowl. That's when I heard voices. Lauren's voice. And 3 others. Her friends. Jenna, Monica, and Brooke. The self-appointed relationship experts. Their voices drifted from the living room. Low, excited, conspiratorial. At first I smiled. Typical girls' night gossip. But then Jenna said something that made my stomach tighten. Just tell them you need space, Lauren. Men don't value what they have until it's slipping away. Monica laughed. Exactly. My sister did it, and her boyfriend practically fell to his knees begging. Brooke chimed in. Marks the type who'll panic instantly. My name. That made me pause in the hallway. I stood there silently, listening. Lauren sounded hesitant. But what if he agrees? Brooke snorted. He won't. Men like Mark don't walk away from marriages. He'll freak out. Monica added. Do it this weekend. Tell him you're not sure about the marriage. Let him sweat. My chest tightened. Slowly. Coldly. They weren't talking about a conversation. They were talking about a performance. A trap. An emotional ambush. And the worst part? Lauren wasn't shutting it down. She sighed. I don't know, girls, it feels wrong. Jenna scoffed. It's not wrong. It's a commitment test. Commitment test. Those 2 words echoed in my head like a dull bell. Suddenly my entire body went still. No anger. No panique. Just quiet disappointment. They were treating my marriage like a reality show challenge. And my wife was considering it. I could have walked in, confronted them, demanded an explanation. Instead, I quietly stepped back outside. The evening air hit me like cold water. I stood in the driveway, looking at my house. The house I'd worked years to build. The marriage I believed was built on trust. And in that silent moment, something inside me settled. A decision. Clear. Simple. If Lauren wanted to test me, she was about to learn what happens when a man stops playing the game entirely.
20 minutes later I walked back in. The house was quiet. Her friends had left. Lauren stood in the kitchen stirring something on the stove, humming softly, like she hadn't just agreed to emotionally sabotage our marriage. She turned when she heard me, smiled, kissed my cheek. You're home early. Traffic was light, I said. She avoided eye contact, just for a second, but it was enough. Dinner that night was quiet. Too quiet. Her fork barely touched her food. Every few minutes she pressed her fingers together like she was rehearsing invisible lines. That night in bed she tossed and turned beside me. I stared at the ceiling, listening to her breathing, thinking about the script her friends had written. Saturday arrived sooner than she expected. I was in the garage organizing tools when she appeared in the doorway. Arms crossed, face set, determined, like someone about to perform a rehearsed speech. We need to talk. There it was. The line. The moment. I turned calmly. Sure. What's on your mind? She inhaled slowly. I'm not sure I'm happy anymore. Silence filled the garage. I think I need space. There it was. The fake breakup. The trap. She watched my face carefully. Waiting. Expecting panic. Instead I leaned against the workbench. What kind of space? Her expression flickered. That wasn't the reaction she expected. Maybe. A break, she said. A few weeks so I can think. I nodded thoughtfully. A break sounds reasonable. Her eyes widened slightly. When do you want it to start? Now she looked genuinely confused. You're okay with this? You said you're unhappy, I replied calmly. I'm not going to force you to stay somewhere you don't want to be. The color drained from her face. But, don't you want to talk about it? There's nothing to talk about. I walked past her toward the house. I'll move into the guest room so you have privacy. Her voice cracked. You're moving out now. You said you needed space. I began packing clothes. Slowly, calmly. She hovered in the doorway like someone watching a disaster unfold. Don't you have questions? Of course, I said. But if my presence makes you unhappy, what good would questions do? Her phone buzzed. She jumped. Probably her friends checking in. Waiting for the update. I grabbed my wallet. I'm going out with the guys tonight. You're going out. Figured I should start adjusting. Her voice was barely a whisper. Adjusting. That's what a break means, right? When I left the house, Lauren looked smaller than I had ever seen her. That night I stayed out late. Nothing crazy. Just dinner with friends. But long enough for Lauren's imagination to run wild. When I got home she was sitting on the couch waiting. Something she never did before. How was your night? She asked. Great, I said. I forgot how freeing it is not having to check in. Her face tightened like someone had slapped her. I went straight to bed. The next morning she appeared in the kitchen wearing a robe and worry. I've been thinking about what I said. That's good, I replied cheerfully. That was the point of the break. Maybe we should try counseling instead. I turned slowly. But you said you weren't sure you wanted to spend your life with me. That's bigger than counseling. Her voice trembled. I was overwhelmed. So, when you said you needed space to think about our marriage, was that literal? She froze. I didn't mean it like that. But that's what you said. She had no answer. Later that evening she tried again. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe we just need to reconnect. I calmly cut my steak. We could have reconnected before you announced you might not want this marriage. What changed? She swallowed hard. I guess, almost losing something makes you realize its value. You haven't lost anything. We're just giving you time to decide if you want to stay married. That's when frustration broke through her voice. You're being difficult on purpose. No, I said, I'm respecting your wishes. By Wednesday she was desperate. By Friday she was on the phone with her friends again. I heard everything through the kitchen wall. It isn't working, Lauren whispered. He's not fighting for me. One of them laughed. Then escalate. Tell him you're thinking about divorce. Silence. Then Lauren said softly, maybe I should. I smiled to myself. They wanted drama. They wanted escalation. They were about to get something very different. That evening Lauren approached me again. Carefully. Mark, maybe this separation should be permanent. I nodded. You might be right. Her eyes went wide. Wait. You agree? Yes. This week showed me something. You want a divorce. I want to be with someone who's sure they want to be with me. The room went silent. For the first time all week. Lauren looked truly afraid. The next morning she exploded. Stop acting like this. I looked up from my coffee. Like what? This calm routine. You're supposed to fight for us. Why would I fight someone who's leaving me? Tears filled her eyes. You don't even care. I stood slowly. Are you upset because I'm not fighting, or because I took your words seriously? She froze. Then her phone buzzed. I glanced at it. Your friend's checking on the test. Her face went pale. What test? The fake breakup you planned last Thursday. I heard everything. Her knees nearly buckled. You heard everything. Every word. The coaching. The manipulation. The plan. Tears rolled down her face. It wasn't like that. Then explain. She whispered. They said it would show how much you cared. By lying to me. She sobbed harder. I'm sorry. A mistake is spilling coffee, I said quietly. This was a deliberate plan. Silence filled the kitchen. Then I told her what would happen next. You're going to call each of your friends. And tell them exactly how their advice nearly destroyed your marriage. And you're doing it in front of me. She nodded weakly. And we're starting real marriage counseling. And trust gets rebuilt through actions. Not words. That afternoon she made the calls. Every single one. Jenna blamed her. Monica minimized it. Brooke defended the idea. Lauren cut them all off. One by one. By the third call she was shaking. But she did it. Weeks turned into months. Counseling was hard, brutally honest, but slowly, we rebuilt something real. Not perfect, not magical, just honest. The moment I'll never forget isn't the confrontation. It's the instant in the kitchen when Lauren realized her little test had failed completely. She expected tears. She expected panic. Instead, she discovered something else. Sometimes silence hits harder than anger. And sometimes the calmest response changes everything. If this story hit close to home, hit like and subscribe for more powerful relationship stories. And tell me in the comments, if your partner tried to test your love like this, would you fight for them? Or walk away? Because sometimes, the strongest move in a marriage is refusing to play the game.